Well, hello, friends. Mary Ellen here, and I am hopping on here today to offer up one of the most powerful tools that I know of to bring yourself back to a place of inner peace, regardless of circumstance. It's a process I developed over 10 years ago called the Inner Peace Reality Check. And literally, the promise has always been to transform inner turmoil in minutes. And I'm going to go through that here in a minute. But of course, at this moment in time, there's a lot of crazy going on, unprecedented, right? So many people on even mandated to stay home. There's high uncertainty. There's a variety of emotions going on. Um, our reality is changing day by day, even moment by moment. Um, and that stirs so much inside this mind of ours and these emotions of ours. And in the midst of all this crazy, it's perhaps even more important that we're able to find our center, find our inner calm, find that sense of inner peace. Because when we are in alignment with reality and in our peace and grounded and centered, this is when we can make our best choices. We can be present with loved ones. We can focus clearly on what needs to be focused on. We're tapped into our intuition and creativity. Um, there's just so much more goodness that comes by being clear and at peace and grounded. And it's going to require a little extra work for most of us. Um, and today and maybe even the days and weeks to come, there are a lot of little things we can do when we get triggered or our inner peace otherwise gets disrupted. There's simple things like coming back to our breath. And in fact, I'm going to just do that quick breath exercise right now, where we take a deep breath in. We hold for a count of four. 1, 2, 3, 4. We exhale and we drop our shoulders. And then we do it again because it feels so good. Take a deep breath in. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. Drop our shoulders. And we can do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. Drop our shoulders. Sometimes just that little simple breath exercise can be powerful enough to reset, right? We can also focus on gratitude. We can come back to that present moment. We can hold a larger perspective of looking beyond coronavirus and in the months ahead when we're past all this, the curve's flattened, it's diminished, everything is completely under control. Um, we can love ourselves in moments when we're being harsh on ourselves. We can question our thoughts, the truth of them. So these are all little simple things that you may already be familiar with, but I want to offer the power tool today because it's in the toughest moments when those simple, maybe a breathing exercise or gratitude, when the mind's like, sorry, that's not working, right? And so I created this process over 10 years ago. It's called the Inner Peace Reality Check. And it's 6 simple questions, super easy. 6 questions to transform inner turmoil in minutes. Super effective. I'm going to include a link so that you can download these questions, and then I've got a blank worksheet for you as well, so you can do it at home. And it works for anything, not just pandemics and this crazy world that we've got going on right now, it will work for anything. Um, Overwhelm, just being super triggered by a person or situation, anything. Even just if we're in a stuckness and we just want to create more momentum, it'll work there. So I really invite you to just be willing to try to use these questions for yourself. And I think it'll be helpful just having me go through each of the questions so you understand them. And when you're walking yourself through the process, you've got a frame of reference. So, it's super important when you're doing this process for yourself. I want you to write down your answers, because when we write down answers, so I kind of made some notes here. It slows the mind down and it allows us to get into more of an objective observer of whatever reality we're caught up in. So the other thing to say, because it is a reality check, I want to say it's a little extra tricky right now because reality is shifting pretty quickly, right? I actually did a video like this a few days ago, but even the next day, I felt like, you know what? I'm not really speaking to the fact like that was that moment in time, and now we're in this moment in time. So I wanted to incorporate that in today's video, that whatever reality we do right now is going to be different than tomorrow. And I don't want you to poo-poo the whole process by saying, well, you named, reality as it today, but, what about what's to come tomorrow or in 2 weeks or in 4 weeks? Here's the thing. Peace happens when we can align with the reality that is. And I get it. Sometimes it's really hard to be with certain realities. When a loved one is diagnosed with a really harsh illness, when somebody dies or is in those last breaths. I've been there. My mother passed away within the past year. So, I had my whole dance of being with her in those final breaths. We get certain news, or, we're afraid of something that may or may not happen. There's a lot of things that will test our ability to align with reality. And if we can know and get that the more we can be with reality as it is, exactly as it is, this is part of the key to finding inner peace in any moment. So it starts by asking the first question, which is, what's the reality of the situation, right? And I'm going to say right now it's a little trickier because reality is changing, but we can name reality that's going on right now. There is a worldwide pandemic with COVID-19, okay? Here's the other thing with reality. We're not going to exaggerate it nor minimize it. We just simply want to name facts. The facts the best that we know it. And I know this is tricky because it seems like the facts kind of can be a little slippery right now. But we want to just capture a moment of time right now the best we can, and just objectively. So as I name pieces of reality, and I watch the mind go to, holy crap, or maybe you didn't know that fact, or, maybe it eases it, makes it better or worse. Like right now, we're just doing a little snapshot of reality. So yes, we've got this COVID-19. I think as of now, there's about 200,000 cases worldwide. But another part of reality is 82,000 people have already recovered, which is not quite half, but almost half. That's going to say that's good news. It is very contagious. They say, I think the number I heard today was 3 times as contagious as the flu. I've heard as high as 10 times. I'm going to go with today's information. It can be deadly in elderly and people with underlying conditions. I think somewhere between 90 to 96% that have been tested have gotten a negative result. that's good news. 80% of cases will self resolve. So that's also good news that the reality is for 80% of the people, the symptoms aren't severe, they're mild, however, they're contagious. Another part of reality is extreme measures are being taken. A couple states have issued mandates to stay home unless you're part of certain sectors of the workforce, grocery stores and gas stations and hardware stores and medical people. I think there's probably extra some manufacturing, making important things. Um, Government at every level are making decisions to stop the spread. Super good. Here I am judging reality, but I'm just naming reality. Um, the biggest things that have helped in South Korea is social distancing. And so we're seeing in China and South Korea, some of the countries that were exposed to this earlier, um, the curve is flattened and have gotten really under control because of the extreme measures. So we're modeling that here in the United States and probably any of the areas of the world where it's widespread. Schools are shut down, people are stocking up and hunkering in, right? So here's reality. We can also say that kids are home. Um, we could say things that are happening with the stock market. But here's reality. Okay, so once we've named reality, whatever it is, and it just to give another example, if we're applying this to something like overwhelm, the reality might look like, gosh, I've got all these projects that I want to do. I've got 5,000 emails in my inbox that are unanswered. I'm feeling tired and exhausted. And, there's all kinds of commitments going on in, in the brain. So there can be different realities. It doesn't have to be at pandemic levels in order to pull out these questions. But the idea is we want to slow down and just get simply naming as many facts about reality as we can without too much story. I'm kind of spinning a few things up, but we just want to list it. Okay, so next, so we go to the second question, which is, what am I resisting? This is really key. This is where we get to really pinpoint what's grating on the insides emotionally. If there is a lack of inner peace, we can know for sure that there's some level of resistance. Different emotions like worry, fear is, worry is resisting a future that may or may not happen. Uncertainty, fear of, resisting the unknown. We could be resisting focus with distraction, right? We can be resisting our own power by feeling helpless. We can be resisting our own sense of calm because, the brain is telling us, alert, alert, alert. We have to be alert, alert, alert. Well, we want to be an alert, yes. And we're going to get to some other questions that we'll see why we might not want to dwell there. We might be resisting the potential harm that could come to loved ones or ourselves. We can be resisting having kids at home and having to, incorporate that with work and finding new activities and, right? We might be resisting loneliness, right? Resisting being by ourselves. We might be resisting even the decisions that are being made at leadership levels. I kind of felt a little bit last night when I heard that the mandate to stay at home. We have access to childcare services, which gratefully were available to us this week. And because of that, like, I kind of was dancing with the idea, do I stay home? Do I not? But it's like, do I keep the kids home or not? But Riser's got a little bit of extra snufflies. So just really more of a cold than anything. So we needed to stay home anyway. So, but even just noticing kind of the being forced, this mandate to stay home, like there can be just some resistance to leadership, even if it's a good thing, which I do believe it is a good thing. But again, I'm getting away from what we really want to do with this exercise, which is just name resistance, right? There's lots of forms of it. And if anyone has questions about what's going on with their own resistance, I'm more than happy to answer that below this video. So, okay, so there's just some ideas. So we have the first question. What's the reality of the situation? Just objectively naming facts. 2, what am I resisting? Really trying to pinpoint, what are you pushing it against? 3, let's go to question number 3, which is, what if I continue resisting? What will it cost if I continue resisting? So at first glance, it might not feel like this is a fun question to answer, but there is a method to the madness. Here's the thing. If we can really understand and kind of get behind why staying in resistance isn't good, we have a little bit more leverage with the mind to let go and move forward. So, what will it cost if I keep resisting? Well, for starters, when we're in an extreme moment of stress, can lower our immune system for the next 5 hours. Like 5 minutes of intense stress lowers our immune system for the next 6 hours. So that's not good for our health, especially this day and age when there's a virus circulating out there, right? We don't need to lower our immune system anymore. We need to be boosting it. So one cost is our health, disease, all of that gets more compounded the more stress that we have. Also, the more we're in resistance, the more distracted we are and we have less productivity. It sure doesn't feel good. We can look and say other costs for hanging in resistance is the example that we set for our children. Maybe we're not as available to make great choices for ourselves and be present for our kids if we have kids at home. But we can just start to see and keep asking that question for yourself. What will it cost you if you stay in resistance? If we stay in worry and fear, what is the long-term impact of that? Okay, so let's go to the next question, which feels a lot better. And that is question number 4. What can I appreciate about the situation? And at first glance, you might go, I don't appreciate anything about the situation. But if you could appreciate something, what would it be? Right? So, okay, let's step into that. Well, it's a chance to hunker in. Personally, I've had a super busy last 30 days with lots of trips and lots of house guests and like the whole 9 yards. So I kind of appreciate the opportunity to hunker in. I can appreciate extra time with kids, to play games, I think we're going to do some painting later on. It's an opportunity to help and serve people by creating this video. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the fact that we're well stocked up. We have supplies. Grocery stores are still open. I can appreciate that extreme measures are being taken to just halt the spread. I had that thought about a week ago that, heck, if everybody just stood still for 2 weeks and let whoever has the virus, let that bubble forth, let them get treated, let them heal, and separate from the healthy people, and we can go back to normal. Um, Little did I know that that was actually what the country was going to be doing. So I do appreciate the extreme measures because I can see the logic and just everybody stopping, even if it seems like your area is relatively safe. It just, we know for sure it can't spread if there's nobody to spread it to. I can appreciate there's an opportunity here to focus on some organizing, um, maybe some home projects that have been neglected. I can appreciate the the acts of kindness that I'm seeing. Seeing, my husband was just offering to our elderly neighbors that we could do some grocery shopping for them if they wanted to stay in. Um, and I see so many people doing videos to offer inspiration and strategies to find peace and to manage, thoughts going on inside the head, and just to remind people about self care, so forth. So I totally appreciate that. I feel like I'm getting just flooded by just good inspiration and good perspective. Um, and I can also really appreciate that there are so many ways to connect through technology this day and age. In addition to phones and texting, we have FaceTime, we have Zoom, there's so many applications like Zoom where we can get on video and kind of connect face to face, even if it's not in person. So much to appreciate. You can add to my list. Okay, so let's go to the question number 5. So far, quick review. Question 1, what's the reality of the situation? Question 2, what am I resisting? Question 3, what will it cost if I continue to resist? Question 4, what can I appreciate about the situation exactly as it is? Question 5, what are my options? So given reality exactly as it is, what are my options? And we always have options. Also, I want to say that options are neutral. So this is where we're going to brainstorm as many options as possible in light of the current situation. One option we always have is to continue resisting. We can stay in resistance and pushing back and being angry or upset or worried or fearful or just feeling blah. We could. It's one of the options. We could also just do nothing. Maybe it's just business as usual. Hopefully, anyone watching this video is not just going out and about and flooding the beaches of Florida on spring break like we have seen, and continuing too much as business as normal. Hopefully, we're heeding the recommendations or the mandates depending on where you are. Okay, but let's get into other options. Of course, one is honor the guidelines. Let me say that more clearly. Honor the guidelines. We can increase our self-care, look for creative ways at home. I've seen so many more online videos. My very favorite yoga instructor posted some online videos yesterday. Kayvon, I love his yoga so much. I think you will too. But there's so many great resources out there for exercise. Maybe you've got an exercise bike at home or some home weights. We can do sit-ups. We can, depending where you are, go for walks in the neighborhood. We can also just really choose an intention for joy. Earlier this week, I shared in a different video how my girlfriend's birthday was on Monday, actually, and at, oh my goodness, at 4:30 that day, she sent out a group text to our circle of friends inviting everyone to a virtual dance party. And at the time, my kids were home that day, and I wasn't really honestly in the mood for a virtual dance party, but I could see that she was trying to kind of make the best of for her birthday and create some joy. And so me and the kids and my husband showed up at 6 o'clock on Zoom, along with 12 other of our friends, so their husbands and kids and their pets, and some of them with champagne and music and, grooving. But what was so great is my friend Michelle in the beginning said something so powerful. She said, there is crazy in the external world right now. And that external world does not have to define our inner world, right? Like, really take that in. The external crazy does not have to dictate our inner world. And it's so true. Like, we can create joy. And, it was in that space that Michelle kind of got the idea of, hey, you know what? We could do a virtual dance party. And it was kind of goofy and silly, but it was also super fun. I loved seeing so many of my friends, on video and just connecting in that way. It was so uplifting and inspiring, right? So, in these moments of crazy, we can, with intention, choose joy. And I want to just anchor in that even more by sharing a story that happened on December 26th, my husband's birthday, day after Christmas. We're on our way to Utah from California, and the roads get shut down between Baker and Prim on our way to Vegas on the way to Utah. And literally at 11:30 at night, we had to make the choice to pull over and sleep in our minivan along with hundreds of thousands of other people that were stranded on the freeway. And in that moment, it was John's birthday. We made the best of it. It was actually such a fun, memorable experience. We drank we drank wine out of. I had a couple of Bai drink bottles, my Suja green juice. So thankfully we had some wine in there. We had the kids watch a movie. Fortunately, we had blankets, but we just made it work. But we also made it fun, so much so that we all joked about making it a family tradition to go sleep in the car, once, once a year, the day after Christmas, right? So we can create the magic anywhere we want. And with our loved ones, even with ourselves, right? One of the options, if you have time to yourself, is that inner reflection, personal growth work. There's so many resources available for free that you can have access to. We have the Inner Peace experiment that's going on in my Facebook group, Inner Peace on Purpose. And we've got 17 videos, 18 videos. I don't know how many have been posted at this juncture, but you can tap into those, and there's different inspiration there to different ideas about how we can create and find more peace in the midst of everyday life and everyday challenges, let alone coronavirus, right? So we can do that inner work. That's an option. We can listen to our intuition and guidance about what to do next. Maybe it's time to start a creative project. Maybe it's time to get creative with the kids. And I know we have a bunch of creative projects that we have stored up that we just haven't gotten to. So we can be in gratitude, right, for what we do have, for our health if we're still healthy, for access to medicine, for gratitude for how quickly we're moving to creating a vaccine, and other remedies are being investigated. We can be in gratitude for how the country is coming together, which is something kind of back on an appreciation. I really do, at least I am super grateful that I just see this as being more of a uniting force. All of us coming together and working together to protect each other and to take care of each other as we get through this period of time. So in the political divisiveness era, I'm hopeful that we do become more united as a country, and even as a world. We all looking out for each other. Um, we can pray for a quick resolution. Um, we can connect with others through through phone, through video chat, through um, check, just all kinds of different social media. Like we have so many connection tools. So I've been inspired by some of the people in the inner peace experiment who are naming that, they're reaching out to loved ones, doing FaceTime with loved ones. Like this is adding to their sense of connection and inner peace. So that's something we can choose. Um, we can commit to finding different ways to be of service, to help, like I'm doing this, shooting this little video. Okay, and we can choose kindness. We can also just choose to do less right now. So continue to think. By no means is this an exhaustive list of what are the options in the face of coronavirus. We all have our own different realities. We can go for walks outside. We can take Dr. Oz's advice and have more intimacy with our loved ones. I was talking with a client yesterday, and she lives in San Francisco, so she's been in lockdown for the last 10 days and lives in a small space. But she said she at first did a lot of just kind of tidying up and just making it pretty and cozy and comfortable for her and her boyfriend. And that's another thing. Like we can just make our environment just up level it a bit more. Take the time to organize. So, okay, there's question number 5. What are our options, right? So think through, what are your options? We go to question number 6. So it's not good enough just to have options. I've been a life and business coach for 21 years, and we got to choose. We got to get into action, right? So even if that action is choosing to do nothing, like maybe it's business as usual for you, and just being calm and keeping your peace and keeping stress low. But let's ask the question, what will you consciously choose? So you want to go through the list you brainstormed about your options and pick some, right? So I am definitely choosing the intention for joy. I am so committed to having it be a really fun, memorable, connective time with my kids, especially over this coming weekend. We'll see kind of, where we are on Monday and even into next week as online learning for the kids gets incorporated into our schedule. I am definitely increasing my commitment to help. So I wanted to shoot this video before I get off doing painting and stuff with my kids later today. I'm committed to increasing self-care. So I'm going to be doing some online yoga videos and just other things to make sure that my being is being taken care of here. Maybe that's some more meditating. Maybe we'll do some meditation with the kids. We've done that before, and it's kind of fun, actually. And connecting with other ones, connecting with loved ones. So those are some that I am going to choose. So I hope this was helpful. I am going to include the link so you can download these questions. I'll review them one last time. What's the reality of the situation? That's question number 1. Question 2, what am I resisting? Get super curious here. Question 3, what will it cost if I continue resisting? Question 4, what can I appreciate about the situation exactly as it is? Question 5, what are my options? Given reality exactly as it is, what are my options? Brainstorm away. Question 6, what will I consciously choose? So remember these questions not just to do them now, but remember them in other moments as you move forward, as life gets back to normal, like normal crazy, and you find yourself in an emotional traffic jam or otherwise feeling stuck. Good time to pull those out. Be willing to do it. I can tell you the mind will resist these questions in the moment that you need to do this most. I know this from fact for my own personal self, um, and also working with clients. But if we can just be willing to try these questions out, I think you will be happy and thank me later. Also, I just want to say once again that I know as we named reality here today that that's going to be different moving forward. And I also want to just say that we as human beings are adaptable and can adjust. Like we really can find a way to be with any reality if we're open to it. And I really do believe that we are going to get to the other side of this. I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. Um, Lots of you I know also share that same thought that, hey, we just need to hunker in, we just need to get through this. And what looks like, oh, like the mind goes to the crazy of, but what about the financial markets collapsing? Well, one, little reality marker is historically when pandemics have hit, maybe 3-4 months, the things dip. There's an impact economically, but then they go right back to the levels that they were before, and even beyond. So like there's a little bit of the trusting that goes into some of this, which again, that's another one of the options. You know what? I can just trust that everything's going to be okay. Who knows? Maybe they'll stop all mortgages, house payments, rent for a year. I don't know if that's going to happen or if that's even necessary. But just to know that reality is dynamic and there's constantly a responsiveness to it, which is why we also need to be responsive to it in the healthiest way possible. And that happens by being clear and grounded and at peace. And if there's too much all this going on, then it's hard to make clear, rash decisions. So I invite you first and foremost, just come back, find that inner peace and calm. If you're having challenges with this, post them below and I'm happy to jump in and help. But I know most of you are doing great and are such a source of inspiration for others. But I did want to throw this out for anyone that could benefit from this now or in the future, because we're human, the mind works in these ways, and it's nice to have a path back to peace no matter what. So there it is, 6 questions that can transform inner turmoil in minutes. Thanks for watching this video. Please share it with anyone that you feel this could be helpful with. I'm going to post this both in the Facebook group and on my personal page and my fan page, my business page. And let's help the people that need some extra support during this time. We're going to get through this together. Let's do it with a positive intention for joy and creating magic and embarking on this adventure together. Okay, that's it for now. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.